Hello, everybody. Welcome to Chapter 4 Health, Wellness, Illness, and Disabilities. In this chapter, we are discussing about the different issues related with the health, the concept of health, the concept of wellness, illness, and disability. Basically, we are discussing about a new concept of social determinants of health, dimensions of health, emotional and environmental aspects of health, holistic approach and spiritual health, primary prevention strategies to remain healthy and well, as well as the social support system and wellness. Let's begin the discussion from health and wellness definition. Health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. According to World Health Organization, the health is defined as the state of complete physical, mental, and social well being. Health is not only the absence of disease or infirmity. This definition combines the three aspects of well-being. One is the physical at a physiological level. One has to be healthy. At a mental, person has to think in a socially acceptable ways. And social well-being, the person has to be a part of the society in an acceptable manner. And health is not only the absence of disease. One has to be socially acceptable. One has to think healthily, and one has to remain fit and fine to be healthy. This definition combines all the areas of human health. In recent years, this definition has also included the ability to lead a socially and economically productive life. See here, the dimension of health, the definition of health according to the World Health Organization WHO, they have included two more aspects in health, who are the healthy people are socially and economically they are productive, they can lead the productive life in terms of the society and their financial conditions. Again, the new concept is here holism. Holism is a concept that considers the whole person. The person is not a biological or a physiological entity. A person has so many things makes a person. A person means so many dimensions are hidden in a person. The whole person has a physical, emotional, social, cognitive, which is a mental activity, intellectual activities is a cognitive activities, and spiritual parts. Spiritual means believing in the great hidden spirit. It may be religious or may not be religious. Religious and spiritual, they share certain ground together, but they are two different things. These parts are woven together. They are knit together, put together, and cannot be separated. All these, the holistic concept in which a person has a physical, emotional, social, cognitive, and spiritual aspect in life. All these aspects makes a person a whole person, which is called holistic approach of health. And these parts are woven together and cannot be separated. And disability and illness affect the whole person. These are the two culprits, the disabilities and the illness. When person falls ill, this illness and the disability affects the whole person. Let's talk about the dimensions of health. What are the dimensions of health? The health has different dimensions. Physical level, it's a physical health or the physiological level. Emotional, human beings are emotional creature as well. They have different emotion. They feel fear, they feel pity. They are kind, generous. They have so many emotional states in life. Social health, people who act acceptable manner in an acceptable manner in the society, they are considered socially healthy person. Spiritual people believe in the superpower, the power beyond our visible capabilities. Certain people believe in the god, and certain people believe in uh, um, other uh, other superpower. These are called spiritual health. And cognitive health is related with their intellectual ability. Person who can think, person has a critical judgment of many aspects of life. The person can be the rational creature. The person rationalizes the thing. If the and the person tries to get rid of the irrational behavior in the society. So all these five aspects of health are called the dimensions of health. It's continued physical health. Let's talk about physical health. Physical health is influenced by the genetic and lifestyle. Genetic we cannot modify because we inherit certain genetic quality, the transfer of gene from our parents, and lifestyle is another aspect which we can change. Similarly, physical health is achieved when the body is strong, fit, and free of the disease. This is the physical health. When the body is fit, strong, and free of disease, now the person has a very nice physical health. But the the dimension of health, the broader aspect of health is beyond the physical level. Emotional health. Again, human beings are emotional creatures. They feel pity on others. They feel good for others. They are helpful. They think positive of other. They are helping. They are generous. And sometimes the emotion might go to the negative side. When the people feel good about themselves, they have a strong self esteem. Self esteem, let's talk about the self esteem. What is the self esteem? It is the self confidence, the level of self confidence. Those who have a strong self confidence, self control, they can control themselves. Self control, this is a discipline also, and self awareness. They are having the knowledge of what is good and what is bad, because these things are joined with emotional health. So the people have a good self confidence or self esteem, self control. They can control themselves and they are aware of what is good and what is bad. That is defined by the self awareness. So basically, that's why the emotional health, it covers these three aspects of human beings. Accept help and give others help to others. In the emotional aspect of health, we accept health, and we are always stretching our hand to provide help to other. We as a support worker, we are always um, working for senior people, young people, children of different ages. Uh, we are gender blind. We do not mind what gender we work with. There may be children, maybe women, maybe men. We are just here to help other people as they need. And emotional health will vary throughout the one's life. People, people's emotional health will differ according to the different situation. For example, when somebody has been experiencing the loss of loved one family member dies in the family. Now the emotional health of the people are um, it is challenged by the external circumstances, and at that time people need emotional support because their emotional health is threatened by the demise of the loved ones. At that time, our role as a personal support worker could be very significant because we are working with our client. We are most of the time we are uh, sitting together, working together, living together with our clients, and we are the first agent to communicate with the clients because we are giving them personal care, we are giving them companionship, we are physically very close to them like their family members, and we are emotionally attached to them. But the in this scenario we have to be very careful that we cannot share our personal emotional things to our client. Rather we can hear what they say and we can express our empathy with the clients. Now we are discussing about the dimensions of health. Social health, again another aspect is the social health. Who are socially healthy people? Social health is achieved through the stable and satisfying relationship in the society. We live in the community. Our community is full of colors, full of races, full of religious, geographical background. See, the Canadian community, it is a multicultural. We live in that type of multicultural society, and still we have to maintain the stability and satisfy all our community members from the action we do. So, social health is therefore achieved through the stable and satisfying social relationship. We have a friends, we have a families, we have the neighbors, and all our behavior must be socially acceptable. That is called the social health. Approaches others with respect. This is the business of showing the respect and expecting the respect as well. Warmth, our relation should be warm, and openness. We have to be always openness. We have to be ready to accept the new reality. We have to keep our mind open, and it's called open ended. So our thinking should be open ended. We have to aid on those the knowledge we get every day in everyday life, and the trust. So this is a social relationship builds in the trust. If we trust other, they also trust us. This is the significant part of social life. Most people need and have a social support system. That's why there is a social support system. When we go to the community center, all the people in the society and the people of the government side, they are there for the social support. We get social support from the people. So we need to have the social support. Otherwise, we will be alone in the society. Nobody will look at us. Nobody will trust on us. Even as a support worker, we have to maintain, we have to know, we have to develop our competencies, our knowledge about the dimensions of the social aspect of health or the social health. Support workers may be key members of the support system because we are aware of the situation. We are the first responder. Why I am telling you we are the first responder? Let me give you an example. We work in a community with a client. The client is 90 years old, the client has an injury or the client has a broken skin. At that time, we report the skin condition to the nursing supervisor and we prepare for the instant care necessary for our client. That is called client advocacy. And we are also a very, very important part of the support system in the society because we are worried about our client's health. Another example, a client falls from the bed. We have to call the support system. We have to call the agency people. We have to call the nurse, the nursing supervisor, and sometime we have to call the 911 because the safety of our client, the well being of our client, the health and wellness of our client is our prime focus, and we are working on that. Therefore, support workers may be the key member of the support system. And another dimension of health is spiritual health. Believing in a purpose greater than the self. Believing in the purpose greater than the self, that is called the spiritual, may involve being a member of the formal religion, but not necessarily. The person has to be religious to be spiritual. Formal religion, respecting the expression of one other people's spirituality. So this is our duty of respecting the expression of other people's spirituality. So the spiritual health means just the belief on the superpower. It may be religious, formal religion, or not the formal religion. But our duty as a support worker is we always have to respect their expression, our client's expression of their belief, their supernatural power, belief on the supernatural power. Similarly, we are coming to another aspect of our health, cognitive health. Cognitive health relates to the cognitive function of the mind, which is also called the intellectual function of mind, in which the spoken language, the language, and other sensitivity, how we perceive the world, how we how we get the information through the sense organ, and those information we process in the mind and we get the knowledge out of those information of the external world. All these mental functioning are covered by the cognitive health, keeping the mind active and creative. Those people who are very cognitively healthy people, their mind is always active and creative. If the passive mind is there, people are lazy, people become lethargic, people become passive, they are not active, they are passive. Promoting your client's health by encouraging them to take part in the activities. See here, to take part in the activities. The more time you spend in the activity, actively taking part in the activity, you make your client more active and more creative. Because of the creativity of the mind, the cognitive ability increases slowly and slowly, and then faster and faster later. So, as a support worker, how can we help our client to make them cognitively healthy? It's our duty to make them to let them engage in certain activities of their interest so that they remain active, they remain creative all the times. So, the next point is optimal health. What do you mean by optimal health? Achievement of optimal health or wellness is possible in all five dimensions: physical, emotional, social, cognitive, and spiritual dimensions. See here, so who is a healthy person basically? How can we get the maximum amount of healthy status? How are we considered to be really healthy? If we are healthy in these five dimensions, then we are healthy. Holistic approach to the healthcare, and health is a continuum. There are different layers, there are different aspects, and that's why health is a continuum. Health is not a single thing. We cannot define somebody is healthy or not healthy by picking one aspect of the life. We have to see the whole continuum, the whole aspect, and holistic approach, and all the dimensions of the health like physical, emotional, social, cognitive, and spiritual aspect of life. If the person is um, okay, if the person is maintaining all these aspects, then the person becomes healthy. Think about this statement: nursing trends means the job of nursing, our job. We belong to nursing group. A nursing trend change. Yes, of course, it changes. It has to change. But holistic nursing, but the approach of seeing human beings, seeing our client, that's called holistic nursing. The seeing the person as a whole, seeing a person as a whole, the holistic nursing care remains the same. True or false? It is 100% true. It can never be false. Because nursing trend changes. In the beginning, hospitals were full of the crowd of people. Now, hospital stays are very short. People are living in the long term care homes. Mostly, the people are living in the community setting, in the client's home. They live in their own home. That's why the trend of nursing in Canadian communities are changing slowly. But the way we respect the people, the way we provide the care, the way we approach the people, it is the same, or it is not changing. If it changes, then the worst thing will happen. That's why this is the best concept of nursing. We have to continue it. Culture and health. Why should we know about the client's culture, and we can make the connection between client's culture and client's health? Culture is different. Culture vary on how they treat old and sick people, sick members of their cultural community. Every culture have their own style of looking at the old person, elderly people, and the sick person, and the treatment process as well. For example, in certain culture, people do not want blood transfusion. They don't want to use any blood from the blood bank. They think that it is not culturally appropriate. And in other cultures, people, they value the importance is life. It does not matter whose blood is that. They just bring the blood from the blood bank, Red Cross Society, and other social organization, and they are given the blood. Their life is okay. But in other culture, it's not possible. That's why culture is related. The culture defines, sometimes the culture guides the concept of health. What is health is most often determined by the culture. In Canada, one of our fundamental principles is to accept all people regardless of their differences. See, our constitution, the Constitution of Canada, has mentioned it is multicultural. So many cultures, so many cultures of the whole world are found here. Majority of the world's cultures are represented in Canadian society, Canadian communities. Therefore, our job as a personal support worker is we have to accept all the people no matter what culture they belong to. It is the regardless of their culture, regardless of their differences, we have to provide the care, we have to take our assignment, we have to fulfill the responsibility as a support worker, as a healthcare professional, no matter what culture our client belong to. For us, every culture is equal. We have to develop the concept of respecting others' culture, following our own culture, and respecting others' culture. This is called culturally compete, competitiveness. It's a cultural competencies. This is also called the cultural competencies. We will read those in detail in the other chapters. Personal factor that influence the health. Sometimes it is the personal factor, personal habit, personal style of food habit that are influencing the health. Personal lifestyle choices. Sometimes people have a different lifestyle. People live alone, they don't live in the family. Certain culture, even in certain Canadian culture, young children, after they finish the high school, they live outside the house. Old parents are living in the house because of the job, because of education, university education, higher education. They cannot live in the house because they have to move away from their houses. They live in a different places, and it has become a personal lifestyle choice. And stress, when people are away from the house, or people have a financial stresses, people have so many type of stresses. Because of that stress also, it reflects on person's health. Personal belief about the healthcare. Some people may have a negative feelings about the healthcare system, even in Canada. And when they have a negative beliefs on the healthcare system, they do not trust about the health provided in Canada. They will um, they are seeking the alternative ways of healthcare, and ultimately they get their health very much deteriorated. They are even making their health worse and worse. So we have to believe on the system. If we do not believe on the system, we are not getting anything from the system. We have broken the trust on system, and as a personal support worker, we have to believe on the system first, and we have to encourage the people to believe on the system, because personal beliefs, sometimes people have broken the trust, and that makes their health worse and worse. Social relationship and belongings. We have to maintain the social relationship, and we have to see how people are maintaining the social relationship. If people are maintaining good social relationship, they live in the friend with the friends and family, they are happy, their happiness, their positive vibe in the mind, it it has a greater effects on their health. And if they feel that they belong to this community, if they belong to this country, if they belong to that family, if they belong to the system, the healthcare system of Canada, they are always expecting, and they have to be ready to contribute that too. And the sense of control. Remember, sense of control or the self control. This is very significant. When people have a sense of control, they think that these are my limitations. If we support worker, we must have to know what is the sense of control. What are the things we need to control? What are the things we need to have the self control? We cannot do them, and we do not let other people also do them. For example, when we are working, we must know what is our scope of practice. What are the things we can do? What are the things we are not supposed to do? If we know, if we have the knowledge, if we develop the competencies in our professional life, we have the self control. We have the sense of control and self control. If we do not know, if we lack the knowledge, we don't know the sense of control, and our actions will be questions, and we are just the troublemaker. Now we are discussing about the social determinants of the health. It is also called the determinants of the health, and it is also called the social determinants of the health. In your book, please, I sincerely encourage you to read these slides and your textbook together so that you will have a clear cut understanding of the whole chapter. So let's discuss about the social determinants of the health. Because our health is determined in the society, we live in the society, and different aspect of society affects our health. Income and social status. So if we are making good money, we are spending money for very healthy food and we can remain healthy. If our social status is respectable, social status, we respect other people also respect us, it means we are socially healthy, and that is the part of our health. Social support network. So when you have certain issue with the health, you can go to the healthcare agencies and you can expect the support from them. For example, you have a certain health issue, you go to the doctor's clinic, doctor will give you necessary treatment, medication. Sometime your medication will be covered, sometime you have to pay for the medication, and you feel better at home. This is the social support system. It's a healthcare support system in a way. Or if you are alone at home, somebody in the society, in your community, in your neighborhood, they can help you to go to the hospital. This is called social support system. Education and literacy. The more education people have, the better way they think, and the literacy is the same level of education. When people have a higher education level, they think better. When they think better, they make life they make better choice in life, and their life becomes happier. So this is another determinants of the health. So what do you think, uneducated people and educated people, what is the difference? What are the decision they make wrong or right? Because education gives knowledge, and knowledge gives their good choice, good selection, and good selection makes them healthy, happy, and active in life. Employment and working condition. Employed people have a regular income on the bi-weekly or monthly basis. Unemployed people, they cannot pay money for the good uh, good thing for life, for the dietary thing for the life. They cannot pay for the physical fitness. They cannot buy nutritional nutritional foods. And working condition, if we work in a free environment, if we work in a stress less situation, we can have a good health. If our working condition is very poor, we have a very poor health condition in the workplace situation, we are getting disease in those working condition. Social support. There are society in the society, there are so many government non-profit organization, they are helping us, like diabetic association in Canada. They are helping the people who are diagnosed with the diabetes, type 1 or type 2 diabetes. There are so many programs the government of Ontario has been launching for the smoking cessation, for the alcoholic people, to get rid of those alcoholic habit. They are put in a certain training sessions. There are so many type of social support system. And physical environment. See, the physical environment, what type of environment we live in. If the environment is quiet and calm, if the environment is very near the good access to different facility, if we live in a remote places like northern part of the country, the physical environment could be one of the difficulties, because it's very time consuming to get the instant healthcare facility. So physical environment plays very vital role in the health, in maintaining good health. So these are basically the social determinants of the health. These aspect of our life determines our health. Personal health practices and coping skill. Personal health practices. What do you mean by personal health practices? It may cover what type of food habit people have. Do they go for the physical fitness program? Do they do the adequate physical exercise? That are personal health practices. Do they abuse the drugs or alcohol? Some people in the society, they are abusing the drugs. They are drug abuser. They are abusing the street drugs and other narcotic drugs for the entertainment purpose. This that practices are very unhealthy. So personal health practices determines our health. And the coping skill, how we cope with the different situation. If we can cope, we can cope with the stress, we can be healthy. If we fail to cope with the different scenario, situation, stressful environment, we cannot remain healthy. So coping is very important. Healthy child development. A healthy child is like morning shows the days. If we make all our children healthy when they are children, they will be healthy adult people in their future life, because morning shows the days. Today's healthy children are tomorrow's nation builder, tomorrow's system builder. That's why healthy child, it is the priority. So what could be our role to keep the children of our community healthy? We can teach them, we can support them, we can talk to the parents, and we can uh, teach them what are the good things to be eaten and what are the good practices to be done and what are not good practices to be avoided. Biology and genetic endowment. Biology, this is our physical body, and genetic endowment is the genetic qualities we inherit from our parents. So our biology and genetic endowment, it is very difficult to change the biological and genetic qualities of the person, but there are certain modifying things. We can change our body structure. We can change our body structure, and by eating the balanced diet, by doing physical exercise in a regular basis, and other activities, by educating ourselves, and we can mobilize our body. But the genetic endowment, the genetic qualities we inherit from our parents, these are called non-modifiable. We cannot modify it. Health services. Another social determinants of health is the health services. What is the availability of the health services in the place where our client live or we live? So if we feel bad, if we feel some certain uncomfortable, if we feel that we need to go to the doctor's office or hospital, and if we can have a good access to the healthcare services, we can go there right away and we get the services, we return home. If people, for example, the people living in the northern part of the country, especially the First Nation people who live very far away, and it's difficult for them to get the health services as we get in the cities. Gender, certain disease and certain conditions are gender oriented. Some people have a gender condition, like physiologically some certain diseases are associated with the gender. For example, men doesn't have the breast cancer and women don't have the prostate cancer, because men don't have those active functioning breast. Even men has that, but it's not like the females are more prone to get the brain breast cancer, and males are definitely males, only the males have this prostate cancer. So according to the gender, certain diseases are also there. So in the society, so while we talk about the gender in the society, why the gender determinants of the health? Females are more prone to get more diseases than males. In Canadian society is Of course, it is a patriarchal society. Women are working hard at home. Women are also working in the job, and they have a double and triple workload than the men. That's why women are more prone to get more diseases in the social settings. That's why gender is understood in terms of the social determinants of the health and culture. In certain culture, people try to hide their health condition. In certain culture, if the woman has a bleeding during the menstruation period, it is the woman cannot say I have the bleeding. And certain like Canadian mainstream Canadian culture, when the woman has a menstruation bleeding, excessive bleeding, she goes to the doctor. But in certain culture, they think that the bleeding is because they did something wrong in the previous life. That's why they are getting excessive bleeding. That's the wrong concept. Maybe that's the wrong concept. But at the end of the day, we cannot be the judgmental of others' culture, and we can just encourage the people to go for the medical checkup, for the doctor's visit, and have a safe life. This is what is the culture. Let's focus on the illness and disability. What is illness and what is disability? The distinction between illness and disability is that illness is the loss of physical or mental condition. Illness is the loss. In the beginning, the person was very healthy. The person had not lost both the physical or mental condition, but because of the illness, because of the depression, the person has gone very, very weak physically. The person doesn't eat anything. It is the physical weaknesses, and the person thinks different, bizarre idea. That's the mental health. So, before the illness, the person was healthy, but after the illness, the person has a loss of the physical and mental status. But disability is the loss of physical or mental function. Then what is the difference between illness and disability? Read, just follow the principle of reading between the lines. Illness is the loss of physical or mental health. The person is, before the healthy condition, the person was maintaining the health, physical or mental health. But disability is the loss of physical or mental function. This is the difference between physical or mental health, physical or mental function. That makes them, these two concepts, different. Loss of physical and mental health, that is illness. Disability is the loss of physical or mental function. Here is a health loss, here is a loss of function. At the function level, which is severe, which is worse, illness worse or disability worse? Definitely disability is the worst, because physical and mental function is lost. Here, physical or mental health is lost. It is more general, it is more specific. Distinction between acute and persistent illness. Acute and persistent. What do you mean by acute? Like temporarily, all of the sudden, something bad has happened, like motor vehicle accident. Person is bleeding. Person is taken to the emergency by the EMS people. That is the acute. And persistent illness is a continuous. It is also called chronic illness, persistent illness. Once the person is diagnosed with the persistent illness like diabetes, it is very difficult to cure, or sometimes it is not cured. Only the medication is given for the symptom management, not for the cure. Acute illness includes illness and disability that last for the relatively short period of time. All of the sudden, something bad has happened, and that bad situation has impaired the person's health, and it has put the person in the disabled condition, and relatively the illness is very, very temporarily it has happened. Persistent is chronic. We already talked about the chronic condition. Persistent is a chronic illness or is an ongoing illness or disability, slow or gradual. Some disease, to diagnose with certain disease, it takes like 20 years or 30 years. For example, diabetes. Diabetes is not something happens uh, all of the sudden. It is gradually the functioning of pancreas producing insulin producing pancreas. The function of pancreas gets deteriorated slowly and slowly, and the person gets no insulin, and the person need to get the insulin from the external sources, and that may be not grow or worse over time. That may or may not grow worse over time. Certain disease remains the constant if we have the good medical treatment. Therefore, acute illness means the illness that has relatively appeared in the short period of time, and the chronic illness is a ongoing illness, or it has been there after a long period of time. Supporting the clients with the illness and disability, we as a personal support worker, we need to know how can we support the client with the illness or disability. Once again, let me ask you the question, what is the illness and what is the disability? These are very important for your examination point of view and for your knowledge. Illness is a loss of health, loss of physical and mental health, and disability is the loss of physical and mental functioning. This covers with the health. Here comes the functioning. Do not forget these two important concepts. So, as a support worker, we usually support those persons who are ill or physically disabled. Usually affects all aspects of person's life. This illness and disability, it affects all aspects of person's life. What do you mean by all aspect? It is physical, social, mental, spiritual, and other dimension of health. Holistic dimension of health. Person becomes alone. Person feels isolated. Person has a low self-esteem. Person feels depressed all the time when the person has an illness and disability. No two client experience illness and disability in the same way. See, this is the point. No two client experience illness and disability because everybody has a different experience. Even if they have the same disease, they experience the disease in a different way. This is a special way of the person's own experience. Many factors affect the way client experience illness and disability. So many factors. These factors affect the way. Because of those factors, client experience illness and disability differently. For example, if a person who has a good social system, a person who has a good financial condition, the person who has a very nice family support, the person, if the person feel illness, the person is ill, the family, the social system, the healthcare system, they go and work in the cooperation, and the person becomes healthy once again. The person comes back to the normal life and from the illness or disability. If the person doesn't have any family support, any financial support, any good social support system, the person doesn't can't approach the facility he or she can get, the available facilities, healthcare facility, even they cannot approach those facility, and they die brokenheartedly. That's the difference between those factors. These social, even those social dimensions, these are the factors, they determine their health. Now let's talk about the changes and the loss associated with illness and the disability. When person falls sick, when person experience illness, or when person feels becomes disabled, so what are the loss the person feels? What are the changes in the regular routine life changes? What are the new roles introduced? A change in the routine. Of course, a professional, a person working as a professional has a Monday to Friday job, but after falling ill, the person cannot go to job. He lost the job. After losing the job, he lost the money. After not getting money, his financial condition become worse and worse. Later, the person has to sell his property and to invest the money in the treatment and other purposes. This is how, when the person has a illness or disability, the routine life changes. Changes in the work life. Of course, people's work life changes. Sick people, they are not given the job opportunity. They are encouraged to go for the treatment. Change in the family life. Of course, there is a change in the family life. If the husband is sick, wife has to leave the job and look after the husband. If the wife is sick, husband has to look after the wife and leave the job. They have to look after that. The family routine changes, the work life changes, professional life changes, financial condition changes because of illness and disability. Changes in the sexual function. Of course, sexual function, people need to live in a perfect way, in the healthy way to take part in the sexual function. Otherwise, sick people, they can't think about the sexual function. Loss of the sexual function means they are physically and mentally ill and disabled. Loss of the independence. Of course, people, when they are sick, they depend on others. Somebody has to look after them. Somebody has to prepare food for them. Somebody has to do their grocery or laundry. Somebody has to take them to the hospital or doctor's office. In that situation, person has the feelings of the loss of independence, loss of dignity. This is certain emotional thing. The people feel that they have loss of dignity. But our job as a personal support worker, we are always respecting our client. We do not let them feel the loss of dignity. Even if they are ill, they are disabled, they are old, they are males or females or child, our job is to provide them the dignified quality care, and their dignity is always remains the same for us. Change in self-image. They were very handsome and beautiful people in the young age. In the old age, because of the illness and disability, their self-image becomes very low, and they don't want to see other people. They become lonely at home, and it is the change of the self-image. I want to give you one example of the self-image. A handsome person going to the workout in the fitness center and working that is diagnosed with the diabetes and uncontrolled diabetes, uh, uh, goes there, and the person has to go for the amputation, means cut the leg, and the person has to maintain the wheelchair life. And he remembers the whole scenario of the past, and he compares the past with the present, and he feels very bad of that. His self image is very, very bad. He doesn't have a positive self image. And as a healthcare worker, as a personal support worker, we are supporting this the client in this situation. We always have to encourage our clients. We always have to try to give them positive impact, that gradually they can restore their good image, and they can cope with the situation, the changes of the new life, new routine. And attitude of other towards the illness and disability. What is the attitude of others? What is attitude of others? Here we have to see attitude of the clients, attitude of the people who are giving the health service, and attitude of the people who are receiving the health service. Some people are uncomfortable or fearful when they encounter people with illness or disability. I ask you one question. What do you feel when you see somebody who has illness or disability? Do you have uncomfortable feelings at that situation? No. If you feel uncomfortable to work with the person who is ill or who has certain kind of disability, you are no more a support worker. You cannot support because you feel uncomfortable there. And when you see the ill people, when you see the sick people, if you feel uncomfortable by seeing that, you are no more a support worker because you cannot give the good support for that. So we don't have to be fearful of that. We don't have to be uncomfortable when we see the ill people, or the disabled people. Other may stare or avoid eye contact. Other may stare. Stare means just looking at somebody continuously. Stare or avoid eye contact. Eye contact avoiding means what? It means you are not showing interest to them. Eye contact means showing interest. Stigma, shame or social disgrace. So, stigma, this is a very bad